are very interested in the protection of your nation. When I don't promote that show and spam the groups like that and get the numbers that I saw, that makes me know that people want an independent nation. But you guys are concerned as to how it's going to be protected. You're concerned as to how it's going to be secured and the citizens. And you're right. You're right to be concerned about that. And you know what's funny is that a lot of people say that they want to build a nation either in America or off the shores. There's a lot more people saying they want to build it in America than off the shores. That don't mean y'all right, but I'm just saying there's a lot more people saying that. However, what is not being talked about is security of the nation, and security starts with borders. You are insane if you think you're going to build a community or a nation and you're not going to have something to separate you from the outside populace. Because when you say that your territory is supposed to be independent, to me, that translates in the English language as borders. Fool. You cannot say you are going to build an independent territory. Do you not know that that's an act of war? That is a declaration of war to the people who don't like me and don't like you? Do you understand that that means that puts into motion a mechanism, a certain thing in a certain person's mind that they will work night and day to bring it down? And if you do not have borders, then these people will freely flow into your nation, quote unquote, and out of your nation, quote unquote. And they can do whatever they want to do. It doesn't take much to cause havoc in your nation, brothers and sisters. It doesn't take much. And so, therefore, you have to have some kind of time, distance, as well as force multiplier between you and the enemy. And that's what the border is. A border is the creation of time and distance, giving time to the force multiplier. And when I say force multiplier, what I mean is the police, the security force, whatever it is that protects the nation, they need time to get to this because you can't protect every area at every time. That's the reality of it. The reality of any security system, whether it be physical, electronic, or network, is that you have a limited amount of resources and you cannot get to every place at every time. And so, therefore, a smart security system, starting with borders as well as as well as moats and things like that. These things put distance between you and the enemy and give time for a response. You need that. You need some kind of border. But in addition to that, once inside the organization, once inside the business, once inside the nation, once inside the community, you need a way to detect threats. You need a way to be able to avert risk. You need a way to be able to see that. And the only way you can, I'm getting off topic here. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting out of line. Okay, brothers and sisters, so let me start from the bottom and work my way to the top. Let me read the monologue. I'm so grateful to Allah that Brother Kyle Genesis as well as Brother Earl is with me. Brothers, I thank Allah that you're here, and hopefully I can give you something that we can, build upon. Again, I'm going to do 3 segments, maybe 4. I'm going to bed. So I'm sorry. Maybe I have to do number 3, but this is how it's going to go. But I got enough information that if you get this show, it's going to be like biting into a red velvet cake. So anyway, monologue says this: Nation with Borders, Part 2, Physical Security and the Protection of Our People. I will try in 5, it's going to be 3, smooth segments to cover 3 technologies that are available for the protection of black people in the nation state. 3 technologies, how they converge with locking systems, and how to integrate the 3 for maximum protection. Also, I want to get back to dealing with social issues and how I view them with the nationalist mental architecture. I want you to remember that word, nationalist mental architecture. That's a word that I'm going to be driving home for like the rest of the year, I would say, 2016, and building upon it, because I think that's important. So anyway, Honorable Elijah Muhammad says to us in a book called Fall of America. I meant to read this last week, but let's get on here. Page 34. There have been many people who do not like the high official holding the top office of the nation. I think that they should be well protected, and all precautionary steps should be taken to ensure such persons' safety. Riding in open cars or walking openly in the public is usually a needless risk taken by anyone holding such high office, especially when they are political officials. Those spiritual teachers, such as prophets of God and messengers, their lives have not been spared in the public according to the recorded history of the lives of these characters. They are both friends and enemies of public servants, and we must be aware of them, man. Such outlaw action permitted in America is a disgrace and shame to the government and to the people who are recognized as world leaders and examples of what others should do in the way of friendship and cooperation. Check this out. With the great scientific advancement that America has made, it does not seem possible in this modern time that the tragedy that took place on the 22nd of November should have happened. This is a long way from the assassination of President William McKinley. There are 62 years between the two assassinations of the presidents of the United States of America, and with such great advancement in the science of protection, these things should never have happened. Again, it shows the world that the government of America and its people are actually given to such outlaw and violent actions. To take human lives at will, disregarding their own legal law against such action, makes the country be classified as a country or government of outlaws where people have no safety of their lives under the law which claims to safeguard the lives of human beings. Boom. That could not have been more perfect for last week's show and this week's show. And if I find a way to edit last week's show, I'm going to splice that bad boy in there. Okay, so let's get on with the get on here. Okay? Let's get on with the get on here. Establishing an independent nation for black people, ran by black people, but specifically black people from the country of America. Not black people indigenous to Africa. Not black people indigenous to any other place but from America. Do you know how dangerous that is? Do you know how dangerous you are? See, just because you don't know how powerful you are does not mean that your enemy doesn't know how powerful you are. Just because you don't know how much you have learned and gained being in your enemy's house does not know that your enemy does not know how much you have learned and gained. And if you're going to deny your greatness, if you're going to deny your intelligence and your experience, he is not. He knows exactly who you are. He knows exactly what you're capable of. And he's doing everything in his goddamn power to make sure that you never create a nation of your own. That's just reality. If you don't believe me, just study your history. Study your history and see how many COINTELPRO agents honeycombed every black, not, you mean like you want to talk about either the Black Panthers or some you want to talk about the nation. Every black organization was honeycombed with agents, traitors, snitches, and turncoats, stool pigeons, whatever. Unblack Mama has like a whole chapter dedicated to this and Message to the Black Man. And so therefore, knowing that and understanding that, it's an act of war for you to say that you want land, infrastructure, and nationhood, and you got to be prepared to defend it. So just saying that you're going to beat your chest, collect a couple of guns, say black power, and you're going to defend it, you mean that's just kind of stupid, okay? That really is. It's just kind of stupid. That is not going to work, brothers and sisters. You need, and you and I need, we need comprehensive procedures, comprehensive written as well as digitally logged procedures. We need a governing body in place to practice and enforce these procedures. And then you need a governing body committed simply to these procedures so that you can teach and train the people with the patriotism and the nationalist mental architecture how to avoid risk and how to, how to respond, deal with, and minimize threat. That's just reality. That is just reality. Because in America, you have the threats that are cybersecurity, white supremacist organizations, militia, police, espionage agencies, and the like. Those are your top enemies right there. When you go to Africa, you got a bunch of pseudo, quote-unquote, Islamic, but not really Islamic groups that are terrorizing various different states in Africa on the strings of puppet masters that come from, some say, Islamic countries, but really on the puppet strings of America and the European countries. Let's just keep it real, okay? Let's just keep it real. So knowing that these threats are out there, how do you protect the people? Now, Sun Tzu in The Art of War, in the first chapter called Estimation, says that the general that hearkens to my counsel acts upon it will conquer. The general that hearkens to my counsel and acts upon it will conquer. let such a one be retained in command. The general that hearkens not to my counsel and not acts upon it will suffer defeat. Let such a one be dismissed. While heeding the profit of my counsel, avail yourself also to any helpful circumstances over and beyond ordinary rules. According as circumstances are favorable, one should modify one's plans. All warfare is based on deception. Hence, when able to attack, we must seem unable. When using our forces, we must seem inactive. When we are near, we must make the enemy believe that we are away. When far away, we must make him believe we are near. Hold our base to entice the enemy, feign disorder, and crush him. Okay, brothers and sisters, so think about what you just saw. Okay? So that eliminates all of the high chatter that you're hearing from all of the people against you and I, who are saying, Mr. Holism, you don't have a plan. Or Mr. Holism, we're not joining you unless you have a plan. Or, because, there's nobody else in BIO but Mr. Holism. It's hundreds of us, in the group, but the only person you see is Holub, right? So, Mr. Holism, you have not yet shown us nationhood is not on the table or whatever. Listen, we can't appear like we are doing anything, and we're not going to give out the plan anyway. But the reality of the situation is if we was to just come out with a comprehensive plan, put it on the internet, and put it on all these radio shows, how stupid would we look? Sun Tzu would turn over in his grave. But either way, I digress. So, brothers and sisters, look, let's get down to business here. Okay? So, first of all, when you are putting in a physical security system, and understand something, physical security system, according to the agencies of America, is locking systems as well as electronic systems because they provide for physical security, okay? So when you have a good security system, it is really the best when it's proactive. A security system is at its worst when something went down and then it's reporting something, okay? So understand that when you have a security system, it's at its best when it prevents a crime, not when it records a crime or detains a threat actor or a risk actor. You have workplace violence. Workplace violence is not it's not deterred by security cameras. They just record you beating the hell out of somebody that you work for, okay? But the reality of the situation is that any security system that you have is best when it prevents a crime. So when you have very very high-intensity strobes on the outside of your buildings, when you have very loud, high-intensity horns that pierce the ears on the outside of your buildings, this is 9 times out of 10 going to cause a threat actor such as a terrorist to run because he's trying to pull off something or she's trying to pull off something without being detected. And this is why people inbox me all the time and they say, Brother Minister, I want to get a security system. What's the best thing for me to do? And I let them know straight up. I said, look, the first thing you need to do is make sure you get a high wattage siren. They say, why is that? I say, fool, because if somebody breaks into your house, basically they're going to run if you have something that's so high it's ear piercing. They'd be like, oh, I don't think I can do that. Well, then don't get a security system then. Because all you're doing is giving yourself a false sense of security. And nobody wants a false sense of security. You are trying to get something that prevents somebody from doing harm to your people or doing harm or taking something from your establishment. So if we look at it through that looking glass, brothers and sisters, then we need to take the same position when we come up with a security system for our own nation. Any security system, and when I say security system, I'm not just talking about Berg, but I'm talking about various others, which we'll get into in a minute. Any security system seeks to deter first. You need to know that. Seek to deter first. And deterrence first happens with lights as well as sounds. Once you have lights and sounds and triangulation of where the threat is at, then your forces can get to that threat. But there needs to be something that puts space and time between your forces. You understand what I'm saying? Why I started the show the way I started it? And so therefore, brothers and sisters, to begin with, there are 3 disciplines that seek to deter people. Wow, that person keeps dropping. There are 3 systems that seek to deter people from entering your complex, okay? There's burglary or burglar alarm systems, or what we call burgs. There's video surveillance, and there's access control, okay? Now, understand something, brothers and sisters. And this is in the place of the civil engineers and the architects. When we have our own independent nation, we will not be living like the country of America, where some people have privacy, some people don't, some people live outwards, some people this, that, and next thing. Yes, things will be varied, but understand something. In any dense part of our own nation, we will, and I will make sure that I speak to people, and I'm pretty sure the other brothers that have experience with security. When you think of surveillance, before you think of having cameras, the first thing that needs to happen is that your city must be designed in such fashion that you have what's called citizen surveillance. You ever heard that terminology before? Citizen surveillance is basically when, what the hell is going on out here? Citizen surveillance is basically when you have your city and the houses and the structures set up in such fashion that everybody sees what's going on. So in other words, my house is positioned in such fashion that I'm watching your house. Your house is positioned in such fashion that you're watching my house, and vice versa, and so on and so forth. So if anybody tries to pull something off, it's very hard for them to do so because we're all in a position where we're watching one another. And if we are in our own nation and we have nationalist pride in our hearts, then we want to see each other live. We want to see each other be safe. We want to see each other be sound and calm and stable. We're not going to want to see somebody rob the other person, and we're damn sure not going to want to see a terrorist come through and carry out a terrorist action. And we're definitely not going to want to see somebody come through and steal intellectual property that could weaken our nation's gross domestic product and the thing that we are known for and what makes our people very prosperous and live a better quality of life. So we will build houses and build buildings, especially in dense areas, in such fashion that we can police ourselves and we can surveil ourselves. Not saying that you have to be looking in somebody else's yard, not saying that you have to be looking in somebody else's window, but you know how it is in a quote-unquote gated community. In the gated community, houses are, I don't know if you know this, but houses are designed so you have basically community surveillance. Men and women are positioned that everybody can see everybody else's house. So if a burglar comes through, everybody knows what time it is. Everybody knows who's there and who's not there. This is why that whole Trayvon Martin story, there's so much more crookedness and corruptness to that particular story. Because, brothers and sisters, do you think nobody knew who Trayvon Martin was when he was going through that gated community? That community invariably was set up to be citizen surveilled, so that everybody could see who's going through there. So a number of people saw Trayvon Martin. A number of people saw him before George Zimmerman did. And the whole idea that they didn't know who he was is just a Caucasian cover-up, because the reality situation is that if you live in a gated community, it's set up so everybody could see it. I'll give you a short story. I am from Coney Island. Coney Island is a city of mostly black and Puerto Rican brothers and sisters. But at the end of Coney Island, you have a gated community called Seagate. This is where the Jews live at. And the Jews community is very dense in Coney Island, but it's gated off. It's completely sectioned off from everybody else in Coney Island and has a border. You dig? So what happens is this. Me and my friends, what we share, though, is we share the beach. The beach basically surrounds Coney Island. So the beach starts from the black community, and it basically extends into the Jewish community, which is called Seagate, beyond the freaking gate. So making a long story short, the tide came way, 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 way out. And we decided to take a little walk. So, we walked and we kept going. We said, you realize that right here we at Seagate, right? And he was like, yeah, so what, man? Let's keep on going. The minute we stepped foot on dry ground, the police were there to pick us up and take us out of Seagate. Now, what you think caused that? This was not in the day of GPSs, cell phones, even beepers. I was like 9 years old when this went down. So what you think happened? Basically what happened is that gated community was set up so that there was citizen surveillance. So citizen surveillance is better than any camera that you can buy, any computer system that you can buy, because it's surveillance in the people. And if the people have a nationalist mental architecture, then they want the nation to prosper and they want the people to prosper. And we don't all have to get along, but at the same time, we all have to want to see the nation get along. And if we do, we're going to make sure nobody disturbs you, and you don't disturb, and nobody disturbs me. So anyway, brothers and sisters, moving on from that. Moving on from that. A burglary system basically is designed to detect somebody once they come into a house. But as my father, who is a master a master of security, pretty much told me, any burg system is designed to stop a person before they get in the house and then once they get in the house by strobes and by sounds and things like that. Doors will have sensors on them that basically let people know if the door is open, unauthorized. Windows do. And at some point, walls will. Now, in a nation and with borders, you may not necessarily have that on your borders because the borders will be manned by government security, our nation government security. However, people may try to tunnel underground, and they may try to break through border doors, or if we have gates up, they may try to break through the wire in the gate. There are wires that are being sold that basically you can put on the gates so that if somebody tries to cut the chain link of the gate, it would, send an alarm, and that alarm, would triangulate where the cut was been made, and we can get a force multiplier over there either by, by helicopter or car or something like that. So burg is a system, burglary is a system that is designed to stop somebody or detect somebody from making a breach into your place. Okay? Access control is card access. Access control, basically, is divided into three things: something you have, something you know, or something you are. Either you have a card, a fob, or something like that, and you present it to what's called a reader. And that, with your information is in that. The information goes back to a central computer within a split second. The decision whether to let you in or not let you in is made at the central computer. And then the device either locks the door or lets somebody know that you trying to get in and you're unauthorized. That's access control. Either it's a card, a fob, or something like that, or it's a PIN number, something that you know, a combination of numbers, a password, or something like that, or something that you are. And this is where security has gone. This is emerging technology. Access control, which it hasn't been very reliable in the past couple of years, but access control has advanced to the point now where people either use your retina scan, your eye print. They use your thumbprint. Sometimes they can use they can use words that you say, pick up your voice print, or they what is happening now in more high level military structures is they're taking a face sample, and as you walk up to the door, a camera will pick up your face, and as it picks up your face, it matches it with a database says this is so and so, and then they let you in. Now, that's pretty dangerous. I'm pretty sure that's dangerous because somebody could wear a mask. But these things are so accurate that they can tell whether it's a mask or whether it's your face. So access control, this part of it they call biometrics. Biometrics. It's the same method of transmission back and forth, but at the reader, it's a lot more complicated because it's either taking something that something that you are, either your fingerprint, your eye print, your voice, something like that. Okay? So these are the things that are available now to us as far as electronic security systems, these two, as in burg and access, and then you have surveillance. To me, surveillance is the most overhyped and basically oversold system that people rely on. Everybody wants cameras now. And they think that, you have some level of security with cameras, that, if you have cameras, it's going to deter crime and this, that, and the next thing. Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. Like I said last week, cameras are a reactive device. They basically catch you and record you doing something. They do not deter you unless you have enough cameras on your exterior and the camera looks intimidating enough to say that, okay, here's what I'll say to you. If you have a camera married with procedures, as in you have somebody manning the cameras, and as soon as something is seen, it is demonstrated to people on the outside that you will act immediately, that's going to deter people from breaking into your facility and breaking into your nation. However, like I said before, you only have a limited amount of resources. And it's one thing to secure just a building. That's a huge undertaking. It's another thing to secure an entire nation. You can't hire somebody to look at every camera on the exterior. You can't. So basically, you would depend on some kind of alarm going off when somebody is being seen, and then somebody has to coordinate shifting the manpower over to that particular area to see it, and there's a lot of false alarms. So therefore, trust me when I tell you that security is the lowest form of security is video surveillance, and plus it's the easiest thing to do. Okay, this is why when people ask me how to come into the industry, I recommend them coming in through surveillance, because surveillance is easy to do. Anybody can hang a camera, you know what I'm saying, but not everybody can do it right, and not everybody can focus one right. And so therefore, so think about it this way, brothers and sisters. You have burglar alarms, surveillance, and access control. Now, in the conscious community, you have three kinds of people. You have militants, you have teachers, and you have soldiers. You have militants being men and women who seek confrontation with the quote-unquote enemy through physical violence or through, verbal violence, one of the two. You have teachers. You have brothers and sisters that dedicated their life to studying information, history, esoteric orders, metaphysics, whatever, and they seek to enlighten. You have soldiers being people who basically want the heavy lifting. They don't want to do a lot of thinking. They don't want to, they want to think for themselves. They want to do thinking, but they don't want to do a lot of the higher level thinking. They feel that that we've been talking too much and they should get in the streets and they should do this and they should do that, and the time now is to work. That's the kind of, that's what it basically, a soldier is. All of these elements need to be integrated, because understand something, brothers and sisters, understand something. Burglar alarms is useless by itself. Surveillance is useless by itself. Access control has some use, but by itself, it can be easily defeated. But when you combine Berg and surveillance, when you combine access and surveillance, when you combine access, Berg, and surveillance, and most corporations have access and Berg together, then you have true integration, then you have prevention. Remember, we're trying to protect the populace. We're trying to protect the men and the women of our nation, and we're trying to prevent terrorist attacks. We're trying to prevent theft. We're trying to prevent intellectual property theft. We're trying to protect against damage to structure as well as people. We don't want any incidents. It's naive to think that nothing will ever happen, but with good policies and good, strong security and physical security, you can prevent against a whole lot. And so, therefore, understanding that the name of the practitioner of security today is not the same as yesterday. The name of the practitioner is not just, I'm an alarm guy, or I'm an access guy, or I'm a camera guy. What they call us now, they call us system integrators. You understand what I'm saying? So, remember this, brothers and sisters. You never heard Minister Daoud come on any show saying, you black power Negroes who scream that you want to kill Whitey, this, that, next thing, the hell with you. You never heard me say that. You never heard me say that. You never heard me come on here. And yes, well, I must admit, you did hear me come in here and say that the pool of scholars and teachers need to be reduced. I didn't say need to be eliminated. I said they need to be reduced. And the reason why is there's too many out there. But either way, I still think we need some of y'all. We definitely need some of y'all. And we definitely need soldiers. But understand something. You can crown a militant when he's by himself. You can crown a teacher when they're by themselves. And you can crown a soldier and say, well, soldiers, they're not thinking, they're just drones, they group think, all that other stuff. You can crown a teacher and say, you're a scholar, all you do is study, that metaphysics, we don't need that, blah, 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 blah. You can crown a militant and say, you're too emotional, all you want to do is fight, you ain't got to pot the piss in the window thought. You can say that. But when you integrate these three together, you have a nation, because with a person a militant now becomes your defense force. A teacher now becomes the teachers to your babies as well as your up-and-coming people to instill the culture that we say we don't have living here in America. And your soldiers become the men and the women who constantly build the nation and get not only paid well, but get the gratitude of building something for themselves. Do you understand how integration comes together? Do you understand how integration makes something that by itself could be laughed at and scorned, makes it 10 times more powerful? Do you understand that now? And so, therefore, when we talk about security, brothers and sisters, you need to understand that these elements, being Berg, access control, and surveillance, they all have their weaknesses by themselves. But together, you got with policies as well as with strong physical infrastructure being built to help people buy into the program and run the program, now you have almost an unbeatable program, other than the small holes that will happen, but you minimize a lot of the damage. Let's get more into this integration thing, brothers and sisters, shall we? Integration. So what is integration? So when I say integration to you, you normally say to yourself, all right, well, integration is interracial relationships and marriage, and integration is, you know what I'm saying, like us assimilating into white society, us beginning to take on the language, the culture, and, stuff like that. That's what you think integration is. And along those thinking lines, if I ask you, what did integration do to the black community, you got a lot to say. You would say that it took away our independence, it took away our determination, it took away a lot of our fight, it took away a lot of our ingenuity, and you know something? You would be right. If I ask you, what did integration do to black business, then you would respond by saying, well, integration caused us to feel that we shouldn't have our own businesses, and we began to, depend on white people's businesses and other people's businesses we bought from everybody else. It's one of the reasons why the black community has nothing but corner stores that are run by either Arabs or Chinese or Indian people. We don't have that. You would talk about stuff like that. So the question would be, is integration a good thing for the black community and by extension, a nation of our own? And my answer to you is hell yeah, it is, but not that integration. Because the integration that we need is not color integration, but it's system integration. Okay? System integration. Because again, if you have a situation, a security system for your nation, we're talking about big time. We're not talking about some damn transmitters that some fool came to your house and threw up in a half an hour, and now he's sending you a $20 a month bill. We're talking about good physical burglary security designed to catch your black ass when you make a breach in our borders. That's what I'm talking about. When you talk about surveillance, we're talking about IP cameras. We're talking about, and listen, brothers and sisters, the analog cameras were good at the higher $700, $800 end. But now the IP cameras can see you in the dark, give good detail of you in the dark. A company called Mobotics makes cameras that can see your thermal print in the dark. Doesn't give a good picture because it's just designed to catch the body. But we don't really care what you look like. We just want to identify you so that we can send some force over to either neutralize you or detain you. So, cameras have come a long way with night vision. You will be seen in the dark. You trust me, you will be seen in the dark. And by day, megapixel cameras will catch a pimple on your left finger. So if there's facial recognition that's needed, that can be done. You know what I'm saying? If there's, also cameras have the ability to scan your heat signature to tell if you have certain diseases. Because in certain groups that I was a part of, and I don't know if you know this, I'm pretty sure you don't know this, but what was being discussed at the TSA when the quote-unquote Ebola scare was out, was they were going to put certain cameras up. And these cameras were supposed to scan your body, and they could tell by your temperature and your disposition if you were carrying that particular disease. You think about that, brothers and sisters. So remember in the beginning when I read the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, with the advance in science, these things shouldn't be happening anymore? Well, what I'm telling you is this. This is one of the reasons why BAIO, and you can join our social network, brothers and sisters, on BAIOAfristan5.ning. In our network, we ask that you give us a donation once a month, but eventually we're going to ask everybody to try to donate and put together as much as we can. Listen, the security system alone is going to cost loads of money. It is, and it's not going to be one that's stupid. It's going to be one that's well thought out, but we need to know all that comes in. Because, listen, brothers and sisters, it's not just going to be people that's going to come through with explosives or people that's going to try to come through with guns and ammunition. Man, listen, the European will send all sorts of things through your nation. You Negroes out there are not thinking about that. You Negroes out there with your nation within the nation, you have not thought about, you will go down to 125th, right? And you will preach for 3 hours about how the European killed the Indians with blankets that they said sent with smallpox on it. And you'll be teaching about that. And you say, that's how they hurt our brother, the Indian. And goddamn, then you turn around and say, we could do it right here. Not realizing they're going to send the same damn Trojan horse and somebody else on somebody's jacket to your nation too. And if you can't detect that, what happens when people start dying and you don't even know what was sent into your nation? You starting to feel me now? This is not a joke. I'm not trying to scare nobody, but I'm telling you, people like me have to sit up and worry about stuff like this so you don't. Okay? So when you're trying to tell me it's easy as this or as easy as that to do it here in America, that's why I call you crazy. Because at least off the shores, you got a chance. There's some distance between you, and you may have allies around you. Either way, I'm getting off the topic. So anyway, surveillance, and then you have access. Access control, basically either by card reader, by biometric, or by something that by PIN number or something like that. That controls what rooms you go into and what structures you go into, okay? So let me give you a breakdown of what it is in layman terms. Berg is really a reporting system. A burglar alarm system is a reporting system. It reports a breach. It reports a violation and something that happened either on the inside or on the outside. Because in the inside, you have infrared detectors. And basically what these devices do is they scan the area and they record the heat levels in the area. This is fascinating. They record the heat levels in the area. And basically when you come across that detector, your body has heat in it also, but your body's heat is not the same temperature as the area that sets off an alarm. Now, a lot of times if there's like wind blowing in the area from a vent or exhaust or some kind of duct, it kind of sets these detectors off. So what they've come up with is called dual technology detectors, which have half infrared and half microwave. The microwave, unfortunately, though, pierces walls. So it may pick up somebody on the other side of a wall, but, you can set the intensity if you're a professional. So either way, this is what Berg does. But basically, it seeks to report. It's a reporting system. Surveillance is a recording system. It's going to get whatever's in its field of view, and it's going to record it. Access control is a controlling system. But together with a locking device, these things are proactive because once you have enough information, then it allows you to, basically, do you understand why there's a such thing as electronic security? Electronic security is not just because it's modern and it's kind of nice. Electronic security is for convenience, and it also is a force multiplier. In other words, you can't have enough security guards because somebody got to go to work every day, right? And somebody has to build every day. So to get to places that you can't be, there will be electric devices and electronic devices in that particular place serving either a Berg purpose, a surveillance purpose, or access purpose in order to detect a threat or detect a risk and triangulate where that thing is and direct people towards that particular place. And so this is one of the reasons why we would need that in our nation. But to me, the strongest thing that we need integrated with this, brothers and sisters, is we need policy. And I can't say this enough. We need strong policy, and we need enforcers of the policy. I want to say to you before I take questions, because I'm getting ready to take questions, because I think that this is, enough for this week. I got a lot more to say, trust me, but this is enough for this week. But what I would say this to you is this. If you want to be a part of the nation that we're building, or anybody's nation for that matter, you have to prepare yourself to sacrifice your ego as I sacrifice my ego. And you have to sacrifice your pride. Because in America, it is easy for you to say, I got disrespected, I'm going to go down to the man and file a complaint, this, that, and the next thing. In our nation, you really got to put your ego to the side. Because for a while, it's going to be rough, bellicose, and very strict. Because we're trying to preserve this thing and keep it. I liken it sometimes to, a commissioner of a sports league. A strong commissioner of a sports league hands down clear and consistent rewards and punishments. If there's not clear and consistent rewards and punishments, then the league gets out of hand and the people in the league gets out of hand, and the next thing you know, you have a bad product. In your nation, you need clear rewards and punishments because if the people get out of hand, then the nation unravels, and who the hell wants to come to our nation if it's pandemonium? Now, listen, I'm not saying that there should be Sharia law. I'm not saying that there should be any kind of Catholic rule of law or any kind of religious law. But what I am saying, though, is that we need, over law, we need policy and procedures, and we need those to be enforced. In other words, if you violate the policy or procedure, we can ship your black ass back to America and not even think about it twice. You go ahead and you deal with white people with your arrogance and your your disobedience, because we're trying to run a nation, and the nation will run off of people with a nationalist mental architecture who want to see the nation live. They don't want to see it fall, so they will do what they need to do to keep it alive within logical reason. There's a restrictive law that we have in the Nation of Islam, and it says basically respect those in authority, even if they don't respect you. You know what I'm saying? And as long as it does not conflict with your religion. And so, therefore, you taking that particular principle in your nation, you need to respect those that are in authority that are enforcing procedures and policies, because if it's been laid out to you and you know it, then you should be able to respect it and follow it, because you know that not following it, what's the consequence? The consequence is somehow you've weakened our image, and somehow you've weakened our security. And both those things could be devastating to a brand new nation. Okay, brothers and sisters, so now, if in fact y'all have something to say, I will take calls, because I am getting tired again, and but I'm not going to teach any more on security this week, because that's enough, and I want that to be processed, and I'm going to do a part 3. So I will say now, caller from the 757, which I'm pretty sure is Kala.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Everything's good, big brother. How you doing?
Oh, man, you are a burst of wisdom, brother, man. It's like, damn, Malcolm X. Thank you, sir. I say, Malcolm X ain't got nothing on you, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Come on,
holy
man.
Jeez, man. Lord have mercy, man. I'm like, yo. But like you said, something interesting is this, right? Like you just said, when you talk about security and breaches and stuff like that, I was reading this thing. The reason why a lot of people talk about, we need separation of church and state and everything like that. We didn't, because you come from a religious background, I come from a religious background, right?
Right.
But if you really want to separate religion from the state, right, then you better, what you have to do is arrest all the things that religion gives people, right, and codify that and put that in the hands of the state. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't, a power vacuum, where do you think these Boko Harams and all these people come from? They come from a lack of order. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then these people come in the background, like, something, somebody came and stole all my goats. I never got no justice. You know what I'm saying? They're saying, we got stones all over the place. We got this over there. And somebody says, something, if you listen to our form of Islam, we can straighten out all your problems.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that renders the local authorities that were basically don't think that it's important to punish people even for the least crime. Like I said, the Bible says, blessed be all that who kills the least little Babylonian. You know what I'm saying? That means when somebody says a little crime, you got to come down hard on that, because they know not to put the bigger crime. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We in our community have this thing where, this is little crime because people want to get by. They, this, that, and the other thing. No, you got to nip that shit in the bud right there. If you don't want Sharia law, you don't want all this stuff like that, you don't want Christian fundamentals, and you have it in your conscience. You know what I'm saying? That anything crime, criminal can't be tolerated, can't be accepted, can't be justified. You got to root it out from the very root of it. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, respect for authority. You know what I'm saying? We have people in authority for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want a militant and a fanatic taking over. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather deal with courts and police and everything like that rather than having the inevitable chaos. Every civilization fell apart just like that. You know what I'm saying? And like Indonesia, you have bands. People think that crime will go away, whatever like that. Mao found out even after the revolution, the Chinese were ruled by warlords. After they had their revolution, they ruled by warlords. The bottom line, they couldn't establish anything. Same with Indonesia. You know what I'm saying? They had to send many people to the gallows. Why? Because there was criminal culture that would not go away. You know what I'm saying? You give people opportunity. Say, this is the way to build. Let's build a society. But if you don't, this is where you're going to go. And to this day, why is the Asian drug laws so harsh? You're caught with drugs. You're executed. Because they want to save their civilization. They don't want to be a mullahs and all these people coming to power saying, I'll straighten out your soul, because it's in every man to want to live right. I'm saying it's in your soul to know what the right thing to do is. And that, people may not say it, but nobody wants to live in a place where they gotta live in fear. If somebody says, I can solve your problem, they'll do it. And you will have people that come out of nowhere and come to power and say, how the hell did we get under a dictatorship? How the hell did these people come to power? Like Nigeria. How do you think the Boko Haram? They ain't going nowhere. Because it was metastasizing for generations. You know what I'm saying? Neglect. You know what I'm saying? Now you got a situation where you can't control it.
Yep.
So,
brother, to add to what you're saying.
You said it was right.
To add to what you're saying, and we're going to bring Holop in a second because this is his favorite topic. But what you call it? My mentor used to always say, he said, the people get the leader that they deserve. And I also believe that the people get they get the rule of law that they deserve. And so therefore, I don't want anybody to get it twisted and think that me and Kala are saying that we should have some kind of religious law in our nation. But what we are saying, though, is procedures and policies. We definitely need a body to enforce them, but we also need the people to understand that that's an authority and to respect that authority in order for society to move smoothly. Because if things get out of control,
people have to be trained. We have a culture in America where I don't like it. We don't like authority. We don't respect police. That's why we like criminals better than we like police. That's wrong. A lot of African brothers tell me they don't understand that thing. Because as bad as police are in Nigeria, people still side with police over the criminals. And they say when they come over here, we like the criminals more than we like the police. For some crazy reason. How bad police are. And police in Nigeria, you see what they do. They'll bust you upside your head, drag you in the street, and some of everything. They'll take your money, some of everything. And people still will side with the police because they're authority. You know what I'm saying? Some vested authority rather than side with the criminals and the thugs. Because there's no accountability with them. You can go in there and knock on the policeman's the magistrate's door and say, that officer did that. Something might happen, somebody don't. Say they're here, you can file a police report. But the criminals, who are you going to go to complain about a criminal or thug? Nobody. So it's common sense. I'll take my chances with the police than thugs. That's just me. But we haven't gotten to that level yet of civilization. That's why I say, in many ways, Africans, everybody else want to have we live in captivity for a long time, but we don't know what it's like to be civilized. You know what I'm saying? We're not civilized. And as I said, I fear we bring that same mentality to the African continent. You know what I'm saying? And it'll be a disaster. You know what I'm saying? So we get to that point and we say, look, so we law, authority, order, honor, codes, and respectability and everything like that. All the stuff like that. If you don't have all that in place and everything, your civilization's not going to go anyplace.
Right. It's going to go nowhere fast, as a matter of fact.
If you have an exam, like I remember the thing where I was, remember that cheating thing that happened in Atlanta? Right? And I don't believe that people should have went to jail for 20 years, right? But that's a pandemic problem in our community, you know what I'm saying? Where you're talking about when they were passing...
Yes, sir, yes,
but
sir.
This is not, so in other words, basically, you want kids, black people to look good, but you're cheating them out of a real education. You know what I'm saying? You're cheating them out of, and we came and we'll defend that. Well, this, that, and the other thing, we take lower test scores than everybody else, you know what I'm saying, just so we can get our numbers up and whatnot to get by. There's something wrong with our character change. And it works in America because we're not responsible for running anything. So you talk about running yourself and everything, no, that's just not going to work.
Yeah, that's a good point, though, brother. That's a very good point. Damn, that is a very, very good point. It's true.
No, I'll come out and say it. Because I know it hurts a lot of people's feelings. But, me, I don't care about people's feelings. I just tell it like it is.
Well, I'm not sure about that, Carla.
Yeah.
I honestly think people don't really think about that. I think, because here's the thing, and then I'm gonna bring Holop in. But I really like this point, and I think I want to try to develop it in my next show. But we have learned certain things here, and they are part of our behavior. And you and I both know that, you know what I'm saying, you have some part of your behavior, you get a certain age, it's very hard to unlearn it. You know what I'm saying? It's like for me, first thing I do when I get up, like when I wake up, is I may open up my Facebook. It is very hard to break myself out of that habit because I've been doing this for so long. So in America, all we have done is, F the police and, nobody can tell me nothing. I'm my own man. And all we know is not listening to authority. Then we can pay lip service to that in our own nation. But those behaviors may come, they may actually plague some brothers and sisters who may not be as disciplined as other brothers and sisters. That may be a problem.
Bro, yeah. Oh, yes, it will be a problem. It will be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It will be a problem. It's just like that. I see little things even in our organization. You know what I'm saying? There's a protocol. Like I had to tell some members the other night. I said, look, there's certain people who really founded this. Granted, we like to say we're all brothers, but there's got to be some sort of hierarchy. You know what I'm saying? And you have to respect that. You know what I'm saying? I respect all the brothers for their own abilities. You know what I'm saying? And you have to put rank and everything like that. You can't just basically say, oh, yeah, this, that, the other. If somebody's putting in a lot of hard work, you got to give that person more credit and more status than the person who's not really contributing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's just the way the world is. You know what I'm saying? That's the way the world, even among ourselves, among our peers, the peer review. You know what I'm saying? You have to have rank, you have to have respect, and you have to have respect for authority. You know what I'm saying? That has to be there. You know what I'm saying? That has to be there.
Yes,
it can't be just taken into consideration that, oh, yeah, the person doesn't know, because I've seen too many situations. You've seen it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You've seen it with your own eyes. You know what I'm saying? You see what happens.
Without a doubt.
That's what stuff breaks down and is violent. I've seen it happen working doing club security and stuff like that. Whenever it breaks down in rank or whoever like that, you don't want to be there. You don't want to be in that situation, man, where where things fall apart and everything like that. You got 200 so angry brothers and whatnot ready to go. You don't want to be in that situation. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep everything. Everybody who controls men, who's done security, who's done police work, anything like that, like I've done, everything like that, shit is not nice. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. You know what I'm saying?
Without a doubt.
When you're responsible for somebody's
especially if
life,
something jumps off.
Something jumps off. You're responsible for somebody's life situation. You know what I'm saying? It's too late then. Then you learn. You know what I'm saying? Damn, man, I should have listened to him. I should have did this when he said that. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why that person is the head of security. You know what I'm saying? Because he's been in a situation.
Yeah, some things can't be undone too, bro.
Yeah. So
let me bring Holub in. Let me bring Holub in.
Let's see what Holub has to say.
Caller from the 347. What's up? Peace, brother. How you? Brother?
Is that Holub?
I'm sitting up here talking on mute.
Sorry.
What's up, y'all?
What's up, brother?
Everything is good, big brother. How you?
I'm good. Excellent show as usual.
Thank you, big brother. Please add on, because I know you're chomping at the bit, especially when we're talking about the rule of law.
No, I actually, like I told Carla, I actually agree with him. The authority has to be vested in the state. Because I'm completely for separation of church and state. My only thing is this, and this is the thing I was talking with Carla online. Who should black people respect as authority in America again? Who should that be?
We have, like I said, this is what I'm saying. We have no choice. You know what I'm saying? When we decided that this is how it is right here. We sit here in America, right? We use the infrastructure, we use the roads, we use a lot of us collect Social Security. We stay with Social Security. It's their system. You know what I'm saying? Part of that thing is being a citizen, is a second-class citizen. Is not in de jure, but de facto second-class citizen. Because let me give you an example. I get the second-class citizenship every day, and trust me, I feel what you're saying. When I'm driving down the road, whatever like that.
Carla, we already know where you're going with this. We know where you're going. We agree with you.
I'm second class. I freaking angry. You know what I'm saying? I get angry because the bottom line is, I say, wait, why is that cop following me? Why is he running my tag? I get angry. I say, fuck this, and the other thing. But then I think to myself, this is what cowards go through. This is what cowards leave their children. You know what I'm saying? Rich people leave their children a legacy that they don't have to go through that. You know what I'm saying? White man built a world that the white people, they can enjoy. Our ancestors left us with this, so even when they tell us we're citizens, when I get pulled over by a cop, whatever like that, or some frivolous stuff or not, this is what we were left. This is what we did. Now it's up to me to say, you know something, I'm gonna change that for the next generation. You know what I'm saying? You know, it is what it is.
I think that, but what Holub is saying, or Holub is asking, because I agree with you, and I'm pretty sure Holub agrees with you. However, the dilemma is, who are you supposed to respect now? Yes, we are using the infrastructure, so it should necessitate that you respect their ruling authorities, but their ruling authorities are oppressing us. So we obey them.
I put it in a way we can all understand. I put it in a way we can all understand. On the plantation, the white man owned the plantation. We lived under the white man, whatever rules and whatever he set. Does that mean because we lived under him that we respected him?
No, it doesn't. No, that's not the. It has a slight difference, though. You know what I'm saying? There's one slight difference, though. We basically, like Omar Johnson was saying, right? So the whole thing about America is this, right? Once they get you, right, voting, once they get you electing, when you see black people out there cheating, Barack Obama, or black people out there now, Hillary, let's be honest with ourselves, right? Black people are running around Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, and whatnot. That tells the world that black people accept America, and when you accept America, there's a consequences to everything. That you accept their rule of law, and part of their rule of law is the fact that you're always going to be marginalized from a minority group and everything like that. So you can't basically participate in the system and at the same time talk about why should I respect it. You know what I'm saying? It don't work like that.
Well, wait. So you're saying we should respect it?
No, I'm not saying respect. You don't have no choice. You can't disrespect it. You have to respect it all you want, but you will comply, obey it.
That's the same scenario I just described on the plantation. You can be there. You know that you're under the authority. You know you don't have any power.
It doesn't matter.
So you're doing what you got to do, but that don't mean you got to like it. That don't mean you got to respect. I respect the slave master because I'm living on the plantation.
Oh, let me put it like this, right? How many times?
You're not listening, bro.
No. Let me make it all clear. Let me clarify something. What if on your job, right, you got a supervisor that you don't like, you think he got promoted, whatever like that, above you and everything. You say, well, do you respect him? Well, it doesn't matter if you respect him or not. You still got, you still working at that job. You know.
Well, you basically saying the same thing as me then.
You know?
Exactly. The caller, you're saying the same thing that we're saying.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if like what you call there's an old saying. When you lions don't friggin' spend the night stay up at night worrying about what the
okay, but what you're describing there, caller, is respect has zero to do with it. You're talking about force. Whoever has the power to enforce something can enforce it. There's not even an argument there.
It doesn't even matter when you're weak. When you're weak and you have no power, it doesn't matter whether you respect it or not.
But you're saying the same thing that I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're saying a more powerful person.
Obey with respect is what you're doing. You're confusing obey with when they have the power, you have no choice but to obey. But you don't have to respect it.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have to respect it.
You know what I'm saying?
But you will obey.
We're saying the same thing. We're just not using, similar words. In other words, in your own nation, now you have a reason to respect as well as obey. That's basically the point that all three of us
right. And the whole thing is...
And that's the reason why, like I said before, when the Nation of Islam does crowd control with any black event, they don't need guns because the people respect them.
Right. Respect.
The police better get guns, they better get body armor, they better get everything they need because the people don't respect them.
People don't respect. People don't respect.
And the thing, like the example that you used about in Nigeria, at the very least, the Nigerian police belong to the Nigerians and the Nigerian government. They have a government of their own. There's absolutely no reason why. The reason why we respect criminals more than we do the cops because the cops are criminals to us.
We
see the cops performing as criminals,
and in a lot of cases, they are. When you can gun somebody down in cold blood and get away with it and stuff like that.
See, you know what it is? The bottom line is I look at things a little bit more nuanced Because when you dealing, like, if you notice, when you listen to conservative television, everything's black and white, everything's cut and dry. All right, so a Muslim did something, so now we got to ban all Muslims. It's like this overgeneralization is what the problem is. You got to look at things more nuanced. Like I was saying, in my community, there are, and this is the God's honest truth, that Miss Johnson in the community could be getting off the train, and
like
the thugs in the neighborhood will walk her to the building to make sure that she gets in her home safely.
And if
any other thug decides that they're going to do something to Miss Johnson, they'll usually find him somewhere.
Well, check this out. Down here, let me tell you right here, down here is real. You know what I'm saying? We got guns on every corner. There's shootouts every. Last night there was a shootout on the highway last night. You know what I'm saying? They had to shut the highway down. It's like an OK Corral down here. You know what I'm saying? Miss Johnson ain't safe down here. She get knocked over her head, and her rent money will be taken. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, that's there, but it's not the same everywhere. That's why I say it has to be nuanced. It can't be an overgeneralization or sweeping generalization of people, because when you do that, you end up losing more people than you do gaining.
But check this out. I guarantee you one thing: there's more people, black people, who are frustrated because most of the communities are like the one I just described.
But who's not frustrated? Like, is there a black person in this country that's actually like, hey, everything's cool? We are frustrated.
Other than Jesse Lee Peterson.
And even him, he's lying. We're all frustrated with things. But what I want to avoid is there's a lot of good people and a lot of bad circumstances. And when you start sweeping them up together with everybody else, then you lose them.
Check this out.
True.
I recognize that the good people suffer with bad circumstances, but I know there's a lot of bad people who love and thrive in bad circumstances. And
but nobody's denying that.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's not being challenged in any way, shape, or form. What you're saying is 100% correct.
Those are the people right there, and I don't care what nobody say. I don't like. If I could, I would exterminate them. You know what I'm saying? Because the bottom line is they. Well,
that's what's happening now, Colin.
They get little kids as young as 8 and 9 years old to start selling their drugs to them, doing their bad. So they're just bad people. You know what I'm saying? And when you basically take a community, and you got a few bad people, I see it all the time. It ain't no community. It's a few people in there doing all that stuff like that, intimidating people, showing the court, making sure nobody will testify and everything. A few bad people and everything like that. They could take a whole housing project, a whole not just housing project, apartment complex, keep the guns, loud music, all this ruckus, intimidation, all the stuff like that going on every day. And people are like, man, I got to work 12 hours a day. I got to walk from here to the bus stop. Not only do I get shit from the thing, but I can't even get arrested at home. I've known situations where brothers, man, share apartments and everything, minding their own business with it. This happens all the time. Minding their own business.
So basically, what you're saying is that bad guys exist.
No, what I'm saying is this: we basically are comforting and give sanctuary for the sound of my.
Who does that, Carla?
No. Let me finish what I'm saying. I know young brothers and whatnot. They're like, man, young man walking home from the bus stop, got a gun in my head. Dude took all my money, this, that, and the other thing. And these are fellow young black men. And when I say like, well, geez. And I'm saying now, but they say like this. Well, you can't really say nothing about it because they're going to call you a hater. They're going to this, that, and the other thing. So a lot of brothers are like just frustrated. It's like nobody's talking about this. So I'm going to have to go get me a gun. I said, no, don't do that, man. I'm going to go get me a gun. So it's a cycle. I got to go get me a gun now. You know what I'm saying? So it's a cycle. You take that one cancer, right? And then what happens is this. I'm going to join me a clique now. I got to join me a crew now. You're going to watch my back one. And that's why it's spiraling out of control. You know what I'm saying? Only because we didn't want to deal with that one or few people that's coming in there and saying this and the other thing. I'm saying like this. If that like that video I posted, if the cops are going to get the core element of the crew, the whole community will be happy. Because once they're gone and everything, things will go back to normal. Majority of people in there not committed crimes and everything like that. It's a few people that just
You talking about that clip you posted that we was talking on?
Yeah.
My big problem with that is get that white cop out of there. I want to hear a word he got to say. If there was a black cop talking about it, then I give it some credence.
Let me tell you something. We had just toward 300, right? Said the same exact thing. Ain't nobody got behind choices to make them go viral.
I did.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody.
I did.
You understand this, but you know for a fact, right? So a lot of black guys. I had my boy, the dude that taught me martial arts, my boy Chris Robinson. Guy's a fucking. He's my idol. You know what I'm saying? Bad motherfucker you ever seen in your life, man. Weapons, guns, martial arts, everything like that. But he was like that. You know what I'm saying? He was like that. He used to do patrol. That's all he did for a living was patrol the worst neighborhoods in Norfolk, Virginia. You know, Norfolk and Newport News, Virginia. Gunshots every night and whatnot. Just say your thing. He would basically say, look, man, I'm going to take the war, because I grew up in this project right here. I'm going to take the war to these niggas. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not, a lot of them don't even live here. They've come here to pump drugs and misery and everything and leave. And they spend their time in the white community. You know what I'm saying? A lot of thugs don't even spend no money. They're not even in the community. You know what I'm saying? But they basically put their drugs and all their garbage. He said, I got something for them. Now, if you had more brothers like him, that's the one I respect. You know what I'm saying? And I don't respect no coward black man who sits there and said, well, this ain't no thing. He said, look, man, dude, you know what I'm saying? If I had it in my power, man, I would have my own. If I had the legal authority, I'd do whatever I can with the law.
Yeah, you gotta let me get the mic.
Huh?
You gotta let me get the mic, because I want to respond to that. This is the thing, and this is a fundamental issue right here. Now, Minister, you have children, right?
Oh yeah. Do I? I got 5.
Now, the time for you to do the work and that's needed is right out the womb, basically. Right? Bringing them into an environment that's safe, teaching them the values that need to be taught, and you instill those values into them until they become of age. Now, when they become of age, it pretty much should be on autopilot. You shouldn't have to really be cracking down anymore. You ain't gonna take if your son or your daughter is 18 years old, they should have those values instilled in them. Now, if you want to get out a belt and start whooping their ass at 18 and think that you're actually doing something, you failed.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You've already failed.
Miserable.
So my thing is this. The thing that we're supposed to be doing to counteract this stuff is what we're doing right now. We're trying to build and establish our own nation state so we can have a strong foundation from the very beginning. And a lot of this bull crap that America is dealing with, we won't even have to go through. Because education is what stops this. When you have an educated population, you don't have a lot of the nonsense. Look at America. The reason why America is in the situation it is because they've dumbed down the population. Education is not important to them.
Of course, I agree.
So you're going to take a bunch of people that you've dumbed down, and now when you dumb, you don't know how to conflict resolute. So then you got a bunch of violence in your society. So the solution to it is to crack down with a police state?
No, that's not going to work. You know, like as Father Flagger said, you can bring all the police all you want, but until like I said, let's say the thug element is like, let's say a good 10%, right? 10% they'll kill you, rob it like that, right? Long as that's there, right? Then 90% are going to basically go along because there's no immune system. If you basically are going out there and you got cancer, right? If you have nothing to protect you, you're not being
Tyler, I got to stop you. I got to stop you on this. Why are you? I'm getting the sense you're thinking there's a class of black people out here protecting criminals. Like we love criminality in our community and we're protecting them. That's what you're saying?
No, I'm saying, listen to me, brother. Listen to what I'm saying, right? I believe that, like I said on the thread, mankind has 3 essential conflicts, right? You know what those conflicts are? Man versus nature, right? Like, you know, like what's that movie with Tom Hanks? When he was lost at sea, whatever, remember with Tom Hanks?
Mm-hmm.
You know, remember that movie with Tom Hanks? Man versus nature, you know what I'm saying? The elements of nature, right? Or animals, whatever like that. Jaws, the movie Jaws, man versus nature. Man versus man, war. You know what I'm saying? You can talk about the movie 300, man versus man, you know? Man versus man, right? And like this is from the book The Interlopers. You ever read the book The Interlopers? You know?
No.
You know? Okay, it's a good book I read when I was in college. You know, man versus man, right? And then the last part, right, is man versus himself. You know what I'm saying? It's
and that is a perpetual battle.
Check this out. Man versus himself is this. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something right now. I'm gonna let something else take it, right? If I didn't have the upbringing that I had right here, I could have easily go. If my father would have left my mother where like that, I could have easily been in 40 projects, right around the corner from where I was born. You know what I'm saying? I could have easily been into crack, drugs, everything like that. You know what I'm saying? Man versus himself is like, despite all the circumstances and whatnot, I'm going to basically rise above the situation given me. And also, man versus himself is the fact that, you know, I'm not going to let, you know, somebody drag me down because he's playing on my base instinct. Your base instinct, every person has a base instinct. My base instinct is to go out there tonight, man, and let me go sell some crack so I can make some $100. You know, that's your base instinct. You know, let me go this. Let me go run around.
But see, I disagree with that.
Yeah. What do you mean?
I don't think. See, that's where the Christianity starts creeping in. I don't believe that our base instinct is evil.
No, I don't believe that. I believe all men are capable of evil. You know what I'm saying?
Capable of evil is that's a different story. But to say that given our natural devices that we're just going to do whatever is evil, I don't believe that.
I'm saying it's there. You have a choice. You know what I'm saying? To rise above. It's always there. You know what I'm saying? It's always there. You've been tempted before. You know what I'm saying? You've been tempted before to do wrong, but you always arrive. It's a constant battle to do right. You know what I'm saying? To go on the right path. You know what I'm saying? And then when you make the decision and everything like that to do right and everything, or doing right just becomes natural. But sometimes people slip and fall, and they make decisions. How many times will you know a man just here's Thomas calling me, man. Like, dude, get on the freaking Thomas trying to beat through. I'll call him later. Anyway, just like we can call, how many times you see a guy perfect white collar job and everything like that, right? And next thing you know, come to find out he's been funneling money out of the corporation for years, and he go there, I'm sorry, this, that, and the other thing, or he embezzled, or he did this, or he got caught up in an affair, and he killed his wife, whatever like that. It does not matter who you are. Everyone is capable of evil. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Everyone's capable of evil. I don't care who you are. It ain't you grew up in a nice neighborhood that suddenly you're immune from evil. No. What I'm saying is this. There's a constant situation where in many of our poor communities where you're constantly tempted. You know what I'm saying? And if you're weak, you're going to fall to it. That's why there's higher crime. You know what I'm saying? Because the temptation is there and lack of opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You know, so therefore that's all I'm saying. So I'm not disagreeing with that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not disagreeing with any of that. What I'm saying is,
let me say this, let me say this, y'all, and then I got to bounce. I think I agree a little bit with both of your sides. Being a person, A, from the security industry, and B, a spiritual person that deals with people through ministry. I do think that when there's lack of opportunity, we would all agree that the temptation to do something wrong is higher. In fact, I think with lack of opportunity, you don't see what you're doing as wrong. You just see it as surviving. And you probably would be right. And so I think that I rule in some way a little bit on Holland's side of what he was saying, which was this, that there's a lot of people out there who do what they do not because they had a choice, but because they're in a situation where there's no opportunity, so they feel this is their only choice. However, I do feel also that, according to what Kyle was saying, that there's a certain level of temptation no matter what you do, also with abundance of opportunity. I think a lot of times, like, you learn from the Wolf of Wall Street that when there's abundance of opportunity, that brings more temptation than there was with no opportunity. Because now it's like it's so much around you. It's like, for instance, like I said to you before, when they say absolute power corrupts absolutely, and that you know what I'm saying, that the security industry, there's so much money in fake security schools that they can't stop. I mean, they don't have enough people to track down all these fake security schools. So I just think that there's a fine line between the two, and it's a fascinating thing that I study when I have spare time, that opportunities, either more or less, they kind of bring out the worst in man. That's basically what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I agree, because... go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, I was saying I agree with you. Like but to see, is the low hanging fruit is the easiest to pick. And that's my problem. Because we can look at the criminality on the lower level and demonize that, and then the criminality at the top gets a pass. And I got a problem with that.
Well, that's what I hope to balance out with our own nation, definitely. Because I don't think that we can really run a productive society if we don't chase out of the corruption out of the higher levels.
Exactly.
That's definitely
that means being in people. We have to make sure that the education is the population is educated, because that gives them the tools that they need to fight against that. When you got dummies and you're raising and you have a population full of idiots, then the people at the top can go crazy and do whatever the hell they want to do.
Right. Ain't nobody challenging. Yep.
So let's educate our population. My thing is, I want everybody educated. I want the children bright and intelligent, so nobody can pull the wool over their eyes.
Got you.